Any of you that have experience with Jeep Wranglers, especially modified Jeep Wranglers like the one you see behind me, know that as soon as you lift them up, the lack of braking power becomes extremely apparent. Now on my Rubicon 392, we have it lifted 3.5 inches with Rough Country's lift kit. We also have the Yokohama Geolander XMTs in 40 by 1550 and the 20 by 12 -44 offset XD 860 Onslaught wheels. With all that being said, we also have tons of different armor. So not only is the rotating mass way heavier, but the Jeep itself is heavier overall. Needless to say, the factory brakes are not able to do their job properly anymore. So today we're going to fix our braking problem with the Jeep Wrangler with the help of Rough Country. Oh my gosh, this is a big box inside of a big box. Now all these boxes are labeled. The first one says front rotor ×1. Oh my gosh. Oh, this thing is the real deal. So what you'll see here is a much larger rotor that is drilled and slotted. So this is really set up well, not only for cooling, but for stopping power. And one of the things I was really concerned about is the holes on the backside, the holes here, how they would collect rocks off-road, because obviously we're going to be destroying this thing off-road as we always do. And the way that this is designed is to really flush out the rocks, dirt, and grime. That way it doesn't scar up any of your braking or create any weird squeaks and stuff like that. So I'll be happy to test that out. But just overall impressions, this thing is the real deal and heavy duty. And these are JL specific, and on these you do need to be running an 18-inch wheel or larger to be able to clear these, because these are absolutely massive, as you can tell right here. And it says right here 18 and up JL hub. And then aside from our rotors, we also have our calipers. So we've got a little instruction manual here showing us everything that we need to know. But I want you guys to take a look at how massive these 6-piston calipers are. Absolutely insane. But they don't weigh a ton, which is pretty surprising. But super heavy duty material, and oh my gosh, do they look good. Aside from that, we've got an extra bracket right here. We've got some different brake lines. Got some zip ties and fasteners, 2 brackets, other brackets and hardware, and then we've got our brake pads themselves. Look how big these brake pads are. So for now, let's go ahead and get the Jeep jacked up, get one of the wheels and tires off, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I went and got all the tools that are required: 21mm socket, 10mm Allen key. We also got a 4mm Allen key. I got a different wrench style 10mm Allen key, 17mm wrench, 12mm wrench, 1/2-inch wrench, 1/4-inch wrench, rubber mallet, and center punch. So that should be all that we need. I also have a little tool to hang our brake caliper when needed. So step 1 on this is reaching behind here and getting to our 2 21mm bolts on the back. It's this one right here and this one right here. So that's what we're going to do first to remove the caliper. Now that we've removed the top bolt, we should be able to pull it right off. Just like that. Now you just find a place to hang the caliper for now. Now we're going to reuse some of the factory hardware, so just put these bolts aside. That way you can use them later. The next step using a T27 is to remove our rotor bolt right here. Now we can take our rotor off. So to give you a size comparison, now that we have that rotor off, that is the factory rotor versus the new rotor. So obviously way more traction here to grab on, stop, and brake. It is a little bit thicker as well. And for the actual size itself, it is 1 inch bigger on each side, so it completely covers this up. Hopefully you can see that there. All the way around, it is an inch bigger. And honestly, the weight difference is not much. This is actually heavier than these are. So I guess all the drill ports really does lighten it up considerably. So what we need to do now is install the brackets, and we're gonna reuse this factory hardware. So you'll wanna make sure that this cutout is facing towards the inside. And now we can put the new rotor on. And as you can tell, there's not a retaining bolt that we need to line up here. So I guess it's just going to use the caliper to hold it in place. And of course, whenever it's tautened up with the wheel, it's going to be in a perfect spot because of course it's hub-centric here. Then we'll go ahead and install our brake pads into our massive caliper here. So we're going to put them in just like that. And then we'll grab 2 of our pins and we'll put 1 pin in first. Then we'll put our retainer in under the pin that we just installed. Push this one down. And we'll push it under the pin. And now we're going to use our center punch to put these pins all the way in. Now the retaining pins are definitely in, and they are below flush, so they're fully seated. Now right here, I made a critical mistake. I actually put the wrong calipers on the wrong side. See how the brake line is at the highest point of the caliper on the top? It should actually be the bleeder, so you need to flip the calipers there, and I did not do it in this part of the video. I had to go back later and do it. So I need to flip the calipers from that side to this side. I didn't notice till it was too late. I honestly didn't know. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that right now, and then we'll re-bleed the brakes.
Okay. If you need to pull something down, here you go.
Well, thanks. So now we've got this caliper off, and we're gonna install this caliper from the other side. I don't know how I missed that on the original install, but here we are. So now we're going to re-tighten down our hardware that mounts the 10mm Allen key bolt into the bracket. It's going to hold everything in place. As soon as I get this one just threaded a little bit,
okay, how do you...
I'm going to put the brake line back on. And now we've got that one back on and in the correct orientation. We'll do the same thing to the other side, then we'll re-bleed these brakes. Now we're going to tighten the brake line along the same line as the caliper, so facing up.
I have a TikTok too. My mommy does too.
And now we're going to loosen our factory brake line right here.
No, you don't.
You know that bucket back there in the rocks?
Yeah.
Can you get it for me?
Sure.
Now we've got our entire factory caliper out, and you can see the difference right there. Now this is just a 2-piston caliper on the factory, so I wasn't even really sure about that, but it's just 2 pistons compared to the 6 pistons. Insane. And now we're going to be installing our new bracket that goes in the same location, and we are going to need to install some of these retaining clips with the nuts on the back side right here. And now, just like that, everything on this side is completely installed. Now what we're going to need to do now is go ahead and do the opposite side, then we can bleed the brakes on everything and we'll be good to go. Now that we've got both sides properly installed, we're going to check the brake fluid reservoir, make sure it has enough fluid. We're going to have to top it off because we have lost a little bit of fluid, and then we can go ahead and start the bleeding process. So with these 6-piston calipers, you do have dual bleeders, one bleeder on each side. It says to start off with the passenger side, so we're on the passenger side now. We will loosen this up just a little bit, start bleeding it on the outside, we'll bleed it to the inside, then hopefully we've got good brake pressure. And now that we've got 2 people, we're going to bleed it properly. I've already got all of the fluid to the calipers, so now we're really just making sure there's no air left in it. All right, push it all the way. Push it all the way. And let go. Well, now we have everything torqued down into the correct specs. I did check for fitment just to verify we are not going to rub on this, and we do have clearance. Not a ton, let me tell you, not as much clearance as I thought we would have, but we do have plenty of clearance to drive these. So everything on this is dialed in. Let's drive it down the road and make sure it's going to work correctly. And then if everything's good, we'll just test for safety tonight, and we will drive it tomorrow to see if it's going to work correctly and how much of a difference we can really notice. One thing I did fail to mention throughout the install is you see how the rotors are slotted. You can see they're angled that way. Each one is a mirror, so they are opposite. You want the slots to be facing forward like that, not backwards. Oh my gosh. Massive difference, I can tell already. And keep in mind, I haven't driven this in a while. I've been used to driving the Raptor for the last week solid. I've put a lot of miles on the Raptor in the last week or so, and oh my gosh, this is considerably better than the Raptor. And previously this was considerably worse than the Raptor. So it's pretty apparent already in just this short drive that these calipers have made a big difference. Well, for the first test, everything went good. We have good brake pressure and we aren't getting any weird noises. So tomorrow we'll take it all the way to work. That's 30 miles there, 30 miles back, and we'll see how these things are really going to perform. Well, this morning I drove it all the way to work and we had no issues at all. Everything seems to be working perfectly, and these brakes are making a massive difference. I honestly didn't expect it to make such a difference, but they really do. And I'll explain the difference they make. Whenever you're applying light brake pressure, it honestly feels about the same. But the more you step on the brake pedal, the more you notice how much more traction these calipers and rotors really have. So at just very, very, very minor inputs on the brake pedal, it feels relatively the same amount of response. But whenever you start digging into that brake, it just gets more and more aggressive, and it really brings this thing to a stop fast. So that was the main thing that I'm really impressed by. On the interstate, whenever you're at 80, you have the full confidence to ride closer to cars than you should with these brakes, whereas with the others, you knew it was going to take you twice as long to slow down as it would any other car on the road. Well, now I've had a fair chance to drive it on the interstate, on back roads, on normal roads, on just about everything you can think of. And let me tell you, this thing stops. Right now we're going 30. And just with light pressure, I mean, we come to a stop fast. It's so hard to capture this on camera, it's kind of pointless. But I really want to relay to you guys that this makes a massive difference. Which is definitely important whenever you have 500 horsepower. Well, it's been a couple days since our install now, and I've put quite a few more miles on the Jeep since then. And let me give you guys my honest opinion about this performance brake kit. So initially, whenever you just put the slightest amount of pressure, it feels the same, but the difference becomes more apparent the more pressure you apply to the brake. Whenever you really dig into the brake and you need to stop, those things are a world of difference. Like I previously said, they feel better than my Bronco Raptor brakes feel, and they felt way worse with the stock brakes in the Jeep Wrangler. So that is a massive improvement just going from that to that. And even aside from that, the looks are absolutely killer as you saw before. It really makes this thing stand out, and it has that subtle detail to pull everything together, especially on the 392. Now we're going to be testing these out in a long form review as well, so be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll put thousands and thousands of miles on these, take them off road, try to fill them up with rocks, mud, debris, all the crazy stuff, and see how they clear out. But for my overall initial impressions, a massive difference, and for the price, I really don't think you can beat it. So a huge thank you to Rough Country for sending out this awesome product for us to test out, review, and install. And if you guys haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, let me know what you want to see next. But until then, Godspeed.